So the question for this discussion is, if we believe that AI should be a tool for creative people and not a replacement, where does that leave us in an agentic world where all of a sudden agents are using tools to accomplish goals? So is AI a tool that people use, or does AI use the tool and replace the people? So as a founder on a mission, the idea of agents was like, oh my God, this is a sliding slope towards full autonomy and everyone's being replaced, right? So how do we reconcile these things, and how do we do it in a product that gets everybody excited about AI, gets everyone excited about agents, and hopefully involves no one losing their job? Before we get into the solution, I wanted to just do some sizing of the problem. So I had a fun little conversation here with O3. Some kind of economic data point that suggests why agents will be valuable to marketing teams. And O3 came back with this stat from McKinsey, $463 billion. That is the incremental value autonomous Gen AI systems can unlock every year by boosting marketing productivity 5 to 15%. And then it did some sizing. Scale of that versus the ad market, it's $1 trillion ad market. Like, it's just huge, even relative to total global media spend. It's just massive, and that speaks to all of the people that work in advertising and marketing and their collective value. So this really is a big question. How do we build agents in a way that keeps all of these people doing what they love, what they're good at, and contributes to the growth of the industry and the brands in the industry? And by the way, how impressive is O3 to answer that kind of big question with data, with references? All of the computation done is fantastic. So we know that agents are AI that can accomplish goals. I think everyone probably knows the definition. We know that there's massive value up for grabs, for good or for ill. So what do we do about this idea that we want to be a tool for creative people, not a replacement, given that this is the direction of travel? I don't think this is the answer. This is what a lot of tech companies talk about when they talk about agents. This idea that, you know, you have one agent doing a strategy brief, one agent creating messaging, one agent creating copy, one agent doing a project plan. So you don't need a project planner, project manager. You don't need strategist, copywriter. You don't even need the client because the brief is done by the AI as well. I just don't see how this like plumbing approach to building agents and orchestrating them is gonna solve the big problems at the core of marketing and creativity, right? So this is David. Not our David Jones, is David Ogilvy, famous for talking about big ideas, famous about talking about the ideas at the root of advertising as a discipline and as a movement. I just don't see how a plumbing approach and a tech approach to agents is going to get us this. Some statement, agents that add to human creativity, and how do we want to tackle that inside Pencil? All good creative processes, all big ideas start with an insight. They don't start with the brainstorming. They often start with the kernel, something interesting. This is the insights page in Pencil. So this is when you've connected to ad account data. We have an AI system that will look at all the ads in your ad account, tag them all up, what's in your images, what's in your video, what's in your audio, and it will show you, ads mentioning innovation perform, get a CPC of 4.77. That's much lower than ads that do other things, right? You get all that data on which ads are working well. It's a wall of data. We and lots of other folks in the industry have been doing this for a while. It's very rich. You get the feeling that there's latent value, but where's the insight in that, right? So we have an agent called the Creative Insights Agent, and you can just ask it questions about the data set. So you can say, tell me which kinds of ads are working best in the last 30 days on Instagram. What's the most effective copywriting tactics in my account? Are Facebook best practices actually correlating with performance or not? In this case, I've said, I need to make an ad targeting people advertising to cat owners. What creative insights can you give me from my past ads to make this ad high performing? So I've just asked, give me an insight, essentially. So you can see here, first thing it says, what your ad account data reveals, and it has rolled up all of those little tags, there's thousands of them, into themes. So it started to kind of do some of that analysis. So it's saying ads that talk about novelty, performance, trust and authority, and urgency. Get this performance. It's done all of those calculations. It's given a rationale, and it's given how would you use it in an ad, right? So you want to talk about trust, well then you need to talk about vet badging for cat owners. You want to talk about getting performance and results, then you need to show before and after photos. And this whole thing, it gives you right away, obviously, in the chat. Good creative insights are never from one data set, in my experience. It's where you take a data point from over here and a data point from over here, and you combine them, and you get something unexpected. So it's also searched the web in the same response and found that male ownership is up among cat owners. Demand for probiotic and weight control solutions is surging. Humor is present in a lot of cat advertising, and you're combining your first-party insights with obviously publicly available trends, and you're getting to a so what for your campaign. So that is creative insight from first and third-party data in one agent in a few seconds of a chat response. So what do you do next? We've got an insight, or a few insights. this is where we start talking about daisy chaining agents into a workflow. So we jump from our insights agent into, for example, an image ad agent, which we'll select. So you can see our insights conversation folds up here. We had a conversation, 22 messages to get to our insight. Now we're talking to an image agent, and I've given it a little template, which is a screenshot of an ad that I liked from Google Ads. And I've said, use this template to make the ad based on your insights that we had talked about up here. And it's generated this. So this is using GPT Image 1, but Gemini 2.5 can also do this kind of multimodal image generation. This is very new. This model is probably less than a month old. To go from a single text prompt to a fully formed ad with copy, with the insights baked in, with the cat, everything, that's one shot. Before this, we were uploading Photoshop templates and filling the templates and all of that stuff. Now we're going straight to the image. It doesn't get everything right. We've got hairball control bifes there. So there's manual retouch and that kind of thing, but that manual retouch is getting less and less. So that's our image ad agent. I want to just talk a little bit now about assessing what creative the AI has given us, right? So this is our new scores capability. And you can see here, it's giving this creative a score of 65. One of the things we learned from big advertisers is that there's never one thing that an ad needs to do for you. So we have a built-in media performance score, which is trained on all your media data. CreativeX, obviously a well-adopted, fantastic platform for brand and channel scoring. And you might have a number of other scores that you want to assess the creative. Our meta-scoring feature summarizes all of the scores and gives you suggestions on what you should change. So the sustainability score is poor. Therefore, let's add a plant-based or eco-friendly packaging badge to the product card, which is this one. Click apply, it reprompts, and you get the ad back again. So this idea that you can kind of pre-optimize before you launch anything, because the AI is helping you create, but also helping you assess, helps make sure that the performance downstream is better. Now we skip to another agent. So our image agent falls away, video agent comes out, and we've said, animate the ad you made for me, let's go. And it uses, in this case, Google VO2 to just animate that creative. So now we have a video ad. Okay, so we've got an ad. Now let's talk about autonomy and what happens next. So autonomy is where the stakes get a little bit higher, right? This is where agents aren't just doing what I say in a chat, but they are out there doing things for me while I'm not there. And that's when, work replacement really starts to happen. So how do you get to autonomy and get to productivity, but keep the user in control and make that safe? So this is the results page in Pencil. When you connect your ad accounts, you see all of the ad campaigns you're running. We're talking now to a campaign insights agent, fresh chat. And I've said, summarize which ads are fatiguing by channel, ad account, and campaign over the last 7 days. And you can see there's 2 here in the red that are starting to, fatigue on click-through rate, for example. And I can schedule that message to repeat every 7 days and move it to email. So every week, you'll now start getting an email from the tool with the chat response as if you were chatting, but it's via email. So it's asynchronous, and you can bounce between chat and email. So we've got our ads that are fatiguing, and I've said, pause all the fatiguing ads and provide a rationale, including a 7-day impact estimate. So it's responded that obviously these 2 are fatiguing, and it's asked me if I want to go ahead and pause them. And I've said, yes, pause the second one, and it's done that. It's taken an action that impacts the money I'm spending in my ad account, which is quite a big deal. How does that work? How do you control that? How do you make sure that's okay? I mean, media agencies, really don't like the idea that someone's making changes in their ad account, especially if this is maybe done by a marketer, it's done by a client that sees a money, we have clients that are starting to self-serve some of this. So we have a log of all the actions the agents have taken. Obviously, all actions are approved. So there's a paper trail of that approval. You can undo the last actions they took, or you can see the rationale of why they chose to take that action, right? So there's some transparency around this. Obviously, the permissions of what the agent can do is set in the agent configuration. So you might not let the agent change the budget, but within a set budget, you might let it decide which ads run or don't run. And there's ways of kind of controlling the autonomy so that it's not commercially risky, but that it's super valuable. So that's the thinking on simple ways of handling autonomy in a way that the user is clearly in control and can see what the agent is operating on and the whole history of it. So let's talk a little bit about tools, right? We've talked about workflow, we've talked about autonomy. Another big topic around agents is the fact that they can use tools that people would use. So how does that work? This is what Pencil looks like when you're outside of the editing experience, and there's a button here called Agents. What is evolving quite quickly into an agents marketplace. So there's a bunch of agents with functionality that we have built, and there's the ability to build your own agents. And we're bringing products within the group, like Share of Model, which is a tool that helps marketers understand whether AI models are recommending their products or brand into Pencil as an agent, and then you can have it as a workflow in the chat that we just showed you. So instead of maybe having the media insights be your starting point for the creative process, maybe what Gemini is saying to consumers on the homepage of Google Search about your brand is the starting insight. Maybe it's not recommending you on some of the searches you want, and you want to kick off a creative process based on that insight. So you would start with that agent instead. The monetization of this, I think, is really interesting. I mean, for clients, this is basically an enterprise app store where you can imagine that all of your agencies, Kantar, Nielsen, your consumer research, or social listening is consumable here as an agent. You don't have to log into different tools. You can just have a chat with all the different tools. And on the vendor side, obviously, they can monetize through this. So any discussion with their agent in Pencil, they get paid for. So per generation, which we can talk about pricing. So they can chat with the agent and share of model or Jellyfish gets paid. You can chat with Kantar's agent or whatever and they get paid. Or you can talk to the sales team. And if this is an enterprise deployment, you can decide who the account rep is and you can start plumbing all of the enterprise vendors together. I think this starts to get really, really exciting. And of course, the clients can build their own agents, right? Which we can talk about as well, if that's helpful. Another big topic around agents is a whole new paradigm, technology. Agnosticism is really important. If you're going to invest in building 200 agents in Pencil, you want to know that you can take them out if you need to, right? Maybe you want to use them somewhere else, you want to deploy them somewhere else. Their IP, you want to own that. That's important to us. So we build on top of Google Agent Engine. We make sure that our agents are republishable to agent space. Google are also going after this whole enterprise app store idea, and the idea that your agents can move and can be consumed on different surfaces, I think, is important. We have a great relationship with Google. We think this is the right way to build agents for interoperability. Last piece, I think, is this question of, okay, you're using agents in the ways that we've showed. How do human services kind of come alongside that? How do you're working with, a Jellyfish agent? How are you working with Jellyfish as well, right? So configuring and running and setting those agents up is obviously part of it, but also, human teams doing some things and agents doing other things is the reality, right? That's the reality. This is a example enterprise creative workflow that I'm sure lots of folks are familiar with. There's a brief, there's a production step, which is multiple steps, there's a transcreation step, there's a delivery step, and there's two shades of yellow here. Bright yellow are the steps that we think agents can save time on. Light yellow are steps that just humans working together in a single platform will automatically just get faster and more productive, right? Instead of sending emails and file transfers and all of this stuff. So, agents that write or improve a brief is a no-brainer. Agents through that scoring system I showed you, flagging issues with assets is a no-brainer. Obviously, producing the assets themselves is a no-brainer. Localizing, transcreating, all no-brainers for agents, given the current technology. Things like acceptances, approvals, logistics of moving assets around, including getting them delivered to the platform via the integrations, are all things that instead of sending an email to a media agency with JPEGs or a WeTransfer link or a SharePoint link, like when folks think about productivity of AI, like that stuff burns people's time. And let's kill two birds with one stone, right? Let's make high stakes tasks faster. Let's also make all the low stakes tasks faster. And, having the time taken to get a process like this done, I think is absolutely table stakes. We can really speed things up. Where does that leave us on overall advice, I think, in terms of how you can think about adopting agents? We had one of our clients from Diageo tell us that they think about AI as a tool to help marketers be marketers again. So I guess I'd urge everyone to try to remember what it was like when you had a really game-changing creative experience between a client and an agency, right? Whichever side you happen to be on. There was a special moment there. Maybe it was award-winning, maybe the campaign was super successful. That's what we want. Remember what it really felt like to collaborate with creative people or other people, and it was exciting, and it wasn't project management, and things just worked, and there was flow, and everybody brought the right value and knew what they were doing, and it was awesome, right? When we build with agents, let's try and build for a world where we're getting to these two things. So yes, we're going to save time and we're going to move faster, but what is moving faster going to feel like, and why is that a good thing? Let's try and build this kind of outcome. And the last thing I'll just say is, obviously, the agent workflow I've showed you is a step towards what we're trying to do at Brandtech, which is create this operating system for marketing, and that's how it's all coming together. David, our founder at Brandtech, often talked about the Salesforce for marketing. It doesn't exist today. There's no software operating system for the marketing industry. So moving all the way from insights and discovery through creation, optimization, iteration, bridging creative and media with AI at the core, this is very much what all of us in the group, all of our Jellyfish, Pencil, all of the group companies are thinking about. And I want to leave you with one more thing. It's just something cool I've seen this week. One of the big questions whenever I do these AI presentations is, the AI technology is great. It's producing ads that look good. That's great. What about the other huge trend that every marketer wants to talk about, which is UGC, which is creators, it's TikTok, right? Like the Google ad I showed you, you're not going to run that on TikTok. So how do we unify all the efforts and investments we've made with creators and the authenticity that brings with an AI world which kind of you generate content, like whatever content you want? How do these two things come together? Do we have to do one or the other? How do we manage that investment? And I saw something that Google showed that I think starts to hint at where that could go.
Yo, boys, the forest freak is officially going to college. Time to get educated or arrested. Yo, anyone know where the cafeteria is? I heard they got free pizza. I'd fight God for a slice. College is wild, bro. I just walked in here and they didn't even question it. And this? All you can eat. Challenge accepted.
So the point there is like, there's this format that works really well, which is someone talking to the camera about a product, about an experience that's real. That works. That's what you need for TikTok. It's what you need for Instagram. But then you've got this like weird synthetic media thing where maybe it's an avatar, maybe it's an augmented version of the influencer you're working with. Maybe you have a mascot as a brand or some kind of, kind of brand property that could be visualized, right? Maybe your creators are doing that. But I think AI, either in the hands of creators or in the hands of brands, is going to enable you to tap into these placement opportunities on TikTok in new ways. And, UGC is fantastic, it's compelling, it's social proof, it's real, but it's not particularly creative or narrative driven. It misses the old school Mad Men, like storytelling brandedness. And I think that AI has the potential to bring some of that, that craft back to channels like TikTok, which are just flooded with people holding products. So I think there's something very special creatively there with the fusion of AI and creators that is probably weirder than this. So yeah, I think this is one of the most exciting things that I've seen this week. Thank you. Questions?